Hey guys, today I've got another watercolor tutorial with two super easy landscapes for you. I already put down some washi tape on the borders to get a very straight edge, and now I added some water to the page, and I'm using the wet on wet technique to get some super smooth colors, and I'm adding a mixture of this pastel pink tone and another pink tone and some blue. By the way, I'm using the Prima watercolor confection pastel dream set with some of my Winsor & Newton Cotman watercolors. You can use whatever colors you have lying around. You don't have to use the absolute same colors that I use. So you can follow this tutorial if you have any watercolors at all. So you don't have to buy the exact same product. And now I'm adding some blue onto the second painting, and then I'm adding some water on the bottom of the blue and kind of blending that together with those red and orange tones. And yeah, you can be super messy with that. I've used this technique before on my channel. I've showed you this exact same technique before, but this is just a different picture, and you can do that with a lot of pictures. And we are just doing this sunset background at first, and basically all you have to do is start with a blue color, then go ahead and use some pink tone, then an orange, then a little bit pink again, then blue again, and then red or pink and orange on the bottom. That's kind of important that you use this exact same order, or at least a similar order, because you will see how I'm going to use that in a few minutes. So then I added some mountains on the first painting. I used this light blue tone, which is fairly opaque, so it's almost like a gouache, but it's not super opaque. So if you don't have any gouache or anything that's opaque, don't worry, you can just use a bit of a darker tone. It won't matter in the end because we are going to darken up the mountains. But if you do have some white gouache that you can mix with your watercolors, or just any opaque color, that might look quite cool to just start off with a very light tone. And like you can see here, now I'm adding a darker tone to the top part of the mountains. The mountains are just basically those lines, and you don't have to do them exactly like I did because they will always look like mountains. They're not very hard to do. And now I'm using a super dark color on the bottom picture to paint the foreground, because I'm doing this silhouette kind of style again. I already did that on my channel, but this time it's just a different motif. And yeah, I really love this technique because it's super easy and you can customize it to however you want it, and you can do anything in the foreground and it will always look cool. And I started off with those bushes, and on the left side I'm doing those dots. You don't even have to worry about them being connected, because I think it looks really cool when they're not all connected. It looks a bit more realistic. I don't know why, it has this very cool painterly style. And now I'm painting the mountains in the far back, and I'm painting them within this blue space here, so you can see that the colors of the sky are mirrored in the water. That's the sea there, and you can see that those are the same colors as on the top, and that's why the order of the colors is quite important, so that this makes kind of sense. And now I added palm trees, and I don't know, is there even a palm tree on the right side? I don't know, but you can be kind of messy here, and I just looked at my reference picture and I did what I saw there, and I changed it up just a little bit, but I just let myself be inspired by the reference picture, and I'm gonna link both the reference pictures down below in case you want to look at the reference pictures. I think it's always easier if you've seen the reference picture and are not just following a tutorial, but if you just want to follow my tutorial, that's totally okay as well. However you want to paint and however is easier for you. And I added more and more palm trees. Some are smaller and others are bigger because I think that adds a lot of dimension. The bigger ones are probably closer to the viewer and the other ones are more in the back. And you can see how I painted this palm tree here. It's a bit hard to explain, but I think when you look at it, you can understand how I did it. And yeah, it's just very, very easy and doesn't have to be perfect, and I think that's just a super cool way to paint a landscape and to add lots of very fun colors, and I really love sunsets. So now on to the top painting again. I'm adding more mountains in the foreground, and like I said, they don't have to be perfect, they will always look like mountains. And then I used the same Payne's Gray, the same very dark color from the bottom picture. By the way, you don't have to use black, you don't have to use a dark blue, just use different hues of a color. Use lighter tones and darker tones here. I used lighter blues for the mountains in the back, and for this grass bush part on the bottom right, I used a darker tone. And this adds a lot of dimension because the parts of the painting that are closer to us, to the viewer, are a bit darker, and the ones who are way more in the back are a bit lighter because there's some mist in the air and therefore you can't see everything that's going on in the back. And then to add some details, I used the darker tone and just put some dots on the mountain basically. And if you know my channel, then you know that I really like galaxies and stars, so I had to add a few stars to the bottom piece, and we're done. That's it. Those are very, very, very easy and not that detailed, at least the top one or both. They aren't really detailed and they're very suitable for beginners. So if you have never painted something like that, try those out. Doesn't have to be perfect, just have fun with it. I really hope that you liked this video, and if you did so, please give it a thumbs up, and until next time, goodbye!